Hi Stampers, I'm excited that you're here for a mini Stamparatus class. So I'm going to show you how to place your stamps on the Stamparatus for perfectly positioned images every time. So the first thing you need to do is set up your platform. So there's the base platform, there's the foam mat that comes included with your Stamparatus purchase, and then an additional product are the grid mats. So they fit perfectly on the platform, and you can mark them up and ink them up and then just recycle them when you're done. There's Imperial on one side and then metric on the other. So I am in the United States, so I work in Imperial. And my very first step is to mark on my grid paper where I need to place my paper each time. So I just put some arrows. And then next is adding the magnet so that the paper doesn't shift when I stamp on my images. So when I have stamping with the Stamparatus in mind, I kind of have a design in my head. So my design here are snowflakes around this edge, and I wanted to just do 3 snowflakes. So kind of that tip into the upper corner. My sample, I kind of got it off a little bit, and then the smaller one in the center there, kind of filling in the spot of that groove, and then this larger one like so. And then you just flip the plate back and press down and pick those up. All right, now the paper moved because there was ink. There wasn't any ink on there, so it kind of sucked to the paper, but it won't move when we start to stamp. All right, so this is the pool party ink. So ink it up and press down and kind of watch your stamps. You can see the ink transfer to your paper. Press down if you need a little more pressure. Get right over your stamp. There, beautiful snowflakes. And then you can just add your next piece of paper and go. So we're going to do the inside as well. So this is my inside piece. So line it up. Put the magnet down. Ink up. Flip it over and press down. And you can see a little better on the Whisper White, the ink transfer from the stamp to the paper. There, so you can see how easily you can do a stack of insides or outsides. So adding our next layer to the card would be our winter snow embossing folder. So I've already run this through the embossing machine. And I'm going to place that again along where I have my markers. And then here is the plate for the rich razzleberry. So you can see those right there. So again, I kind of had an eye. I wanted to fill in this corner. And in between where there wasn't some pool party ink already. There. Press down to pick up. Oh, those two didn't pick up. There we go. All right, I'm going to move this down a little bit so you can see me ink. So I'm using the Rich Razzleberry ink pad. And then if you have smaller ink spots that come in our paper pumpkin kits, we used to sell ink spots in color families. Now is a good time to pull those out of your stash and start using those, because they're easier to control where the ink goes on the plate here. So just pull this down and press down. Again, you can kind of see the ink transfer from the stamp to the paper. Beautiful. So that's what that will look like right there. Our next layer is an ink layer for the inside. So the Rich Razzleberry ink. I'm going to show you a unique feature of the Stamparatus. Both of the plates can come out and flip around. All right, so I want the Snowflake Wishes for a Merry Christmas. So I've got it in my case. So here's how I store my photopolymer stamps. One on each side. This is a large set. Now I know I want it about towards the top, you know, not in the center. Oh, I got to put the magnet down. Let's do that. Line up my corners again where I want the paper. And then Snowflake Wishes for a Merry Christmas. Kind of eyeballing eyeballing this line here to try to make sure that that is a straight sentiment. And I think that looks pretty good. I probably shouldn't have touched it. All right, now pick that up. And again, it's picking up the paper because there's no ink on that stamp. And then we're going to ink up the stamp with the Rich Razzleberry ink pad. And then flip it down. And I can see there are lines on the acrylic plate as well. I can see the Christmas looks pretty straight to me. Beautiful. So that's our inside layer. In this segment, we'll assemble all of these pieces and I'll go through where all the pieces came from. So when I did the Stamparatus demo, I demoed on a pool party base, but in my sample card you see the base has now been switched to Rich Razzleberry. I just wanted a little bit of the Rich Razzleberry peeking out. So what I did was I cut this off. And that's partly because I didn't have any pool party in my shelves that was not already scored for card bases. So here is the pool party piece cut off. So let me pull this back in and we will just assemble while we go through. That way, when I'm all done with my demonstration, all the pieces should be attached to the card. So that's the card base. And then the inside piece, that measured 4 by 5 1/4. So I'm going to set this up to the corner so you can see where we're going here. The next layer is this little strip of glimmer paper. So that measures 4 by 5 1/2 inches or 1 by 10.2 centimeters. So all these dimensions will be in your PDF tutorial. So you can look at that tutorial and get everything cut and then just assemble along with me. Next is a piece of the Snowflake Splendor Designer Series paper. So if you've got a package, you've got 12 different designs that you can add to your card base. So I'm going to have the multicolor design up because I want to pick up these Rich Razzleberry tones. All right, and the Designer Series paper piece is 4 by 2 5/8 inch or 10.2 by 6.6 centimeters. So I'm just going to cover up that, a little bit of that balmy blue. When you overlap things, it gives more of a finished look. My next layer, oh, actually, I see I actually messed up a little bit. My large snowflakes need to be tucked under there. All right, so let's just do that and add some adhesive. So the adhesive, you got a few seconds to kind of move things around. Probably couldn't come back like in an hour and move things around, but I can gingerly peel it up and tuck it behind. And only 3 points are sticking out behind the back. So if you wanted to economize, you could certainly cut your large snowflakes in half. Oh, I see right here I've got 4 points sticking out. But you can certainly economize and cut those in half. Okay, next layer is going to be this Rich Razzleberry piece. And I'm going to show you the dies. So this piece was what was created when this framelit was used. And I'm going to use this framelit on my other Black Friday project. So you'll see the full framelit in action on my sampler piece. All right, so there are 2 notches towards the top. So I already had a few of these little inside pieces hanging out in my scrap bin, so I decided that they would make a perfect layer for the snowmen. So here are the rest of the snowflakes included in the So Many Snowflakes dies. So I used this snowflake twice, and then I used some of the delicate ones, so I alternated. These 2 are the ones that kind of got the more rounded shape right there. And then I also cut off some that have got the pointy centers. So we're going to attach those right there instead of the other 2. You can tell me in the comments which shape you like better. So what I do when I'm cutting snowflakes like this is I just fill my Big Shot platform up. So what I do when I'm cutting snowflakes is I fill up my die cutting platform with all the framelits and cut them at once. So I've got a whole stash of cut shapes ready to go. Okay, and then I did something a little different here. I've got them above the rich raspberry, whereas on my sample I've got them below, and that's totally fine. All right, next we're going to pull in a Snow Peeps from the Snowman Builder Punch. So I just needed the body for this one. I didn't want to add the arms or the nose or the hat. I thought it took away from the snow theme. So that will go there. And before I attach the snowman down, we need to make a scarf. So grab the coordinating Snowflake Splendor ribbon and wrap it around the neck. And then find your paper snips. And then cut off so you can make a custom scarf. And once you have the first scarf cut, you can certainly make a whole bunch using that as a template for the length. Okay. Now the trick to attaching this scarf is this ribbon is pretty stiff. So what I did was I attached some tear and tape around the neck and then pulled that off so it's a base of adhesive, and then grab your scarf. And one nice thing, since it is so stiff, you can see where your crease is. So you can have varying lengths on your scarf. And then just place it over your tear and tape. There, how cute is that? Now I am tempted to pop this up on some dimensionals, but if I do that, I won't be able to mail it with one stamp. So I'm going to attach it actually with some tear and tape. That'll secure the scarf a little more too. And the reason why I'm not popping this up is, if you can see, I've added these blue adhesive back gems. So those are pretty thick. So that on top of a dimensional is probably not going to allow this card to be mailed with one stamp. But if I don't pop up the snowman with the dimensional, we will be able to mail it. So this one I used, I think, the darker ones. Let's use the lighter ones. So I put one in the center of the body, and then one below, and then one above. Okay. Next, and looks like the very last thing would be to add my snowflake adhesive embellishments here. So I'm going to show what those are. You get 2 sheets. One is kind of a bluish greenish tint, and one is whites. Adhesive back snowflakes. I've got some strips left over from a different project, so you just take your pick tool and put just scatter them in the open spots to make it look like a blizzard. And I've got one right there and one up there. Put one there. Let's put one up there. I've got 3 along the side here. So you can see when I repositioned my Stamparatus, I did get them in a different pattern or a different kind of lineage. That's quite all right though. How about, I want to put one through there. How about right here and right here? So those are 8 snowflakes that I'm attaching. Maybe one through the center of that. There we go. Like that. All right, so here's my sample card. And here's the one I just created. Last, you gotta decorate your envelope as long as you got all your stamps in your Stamparatus. So line up the flap. And since you've done a few, you kind of know where the pattern is. Place that down. You could certainly take your pen and mark those corners as well. Okay. So, pool party. I just think this is so neat. Using the Stamparatus. And then the rich razzleberry. Voila! You've got 2 full reinkers bottles. You might as well use your ink. All right, I'm going to pull in the sample card. So here is the one that we created. Here's the coordinating envelope. So I hope you're enjoying our Black Friday extravaganza. It's certainly been fun creating these projects and tutorials for you. I wanted to share where these products are in the catalog. So the Snowflake adhesive backed embellishments are on page 29. So they're not part of the Snowflake Splendor suite, but they perfectly match with those 2 tones of pool party and the whites. And then here's the actual stamp set and the framelits, page 38. And then here is the rest of the suite, page 36 and 37. All right, look for our other video tutorials and PDFs, and we'll stamp with you soon. Bye.